Oh, good. That's one way to find out my microphone works. All right, give me a sec. I'm almost ready. Alrighty. Hello. Hello. How's it going, everyone? So, please tell me you can see me okay, you can hear me okay, all that stuff. Yeah. Let me know that's all working good. It's been a while since I've done this. I've had to really blow the dust off all my Twitch. Have you ever had to dust your Twitch? Looks all sounds good. Audio, video good. Fantastic. All right, good to know. So this is gonna be now. Like I went quite hard on streaming like several years ago. Like I was trying to make it a weekly thing, and I had all these elaborate pop-ups and notifications, and you know the web chat was visible on the screen and all that stuff. And I haven't had that set up for a while, and I can't remember all the tools. I'm just trying to do a very basic stream, you know, just a very simple one, strip back. I would like to get back. Well, that's a big fly. Special guest Flyboy. Anyway, so, so I would like to get back into streaming, but this one is just meant to be way more of you know, a chill one. We can hear you. Is it just me, or has Eddie lost a lot of weight? Yes, I have. In January of this year, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, and part of that was attributed to my weight. So I went on a health regime, and I lost 4.5 stone in 3 to 4 months. And whilst my body is healthier, the blood pressure is still high, so I'm on medication. So it was like the doctors. The doctors were like, we just presume it's because you're a bit fat, so lose some weight first. And now I have. They're like, well, we tried everything we know. Guess we're going to have to medicate you. So that's what that's all about. But I feel good. Just in myself, I feel happier with my shape. And not that my shape bothered me before, but like seeing like the before and after of like, especially in my face, like it was... quite a wild difference there. So, yeah. So I have lost weight. I can hear Flyboy. I can hear Flyboy. He's like somewhere over here. But maybe he'll join us on the stream official. You know, he'll sit there on the mic and give us our thoughts. So yeah, I'm still working on the blood pressure. I'm exercising. I'm jogging very regularly. I'm going to the gym once a week. I'm now. I don't know if you can hear a jingly noise in the background. That's my cat. I think he's chasing after Flyboy. So he might take care of that problem for me. But, and I've lost beard weight. I think I just trimmed it a bit. And I don't think my beard is attributed to my weight. Cat reveal. Where's he going? Well, oh, it's my voice. I can hear my voice in the music. Can you hear the music okay? I mean, I want the music to be pretty muted as a talk bed, but, no, the cat's walked off. You can't control cats like that. You can't command cats. Sounds good. Good. All right. Because I just wanted to be like a gentle talk bed while, you know, we're having our little chit-chat. It's not meant to be dominating or anything, so, good. All right, cat's watching the stream with me on your Xbox. The cat's on the Xbox. Let the cat play Gears of War. That cat's got a game. So, all right, what are we fucking doing? What are we doing? Sorry for swearing just now. Fuck. So I am doing I'm working on my next headache video. And this video is going to be about Taskmaster. So what I'm doing is I'm converting all like the type of tasks and the scoring systems of Taskmaster into pure data. And then from that, I'm going to analyze basically the best way to do every type of task, comparing who got the most on that within that category compared to the least. So the best person at live tasks and the worst person, the best person at prize tasks and the worst person, and so on and so forth. So, yes. So we are comparing Taskmaster and all the different types of task. Now, let me show you what I've been working on. I'm gonna press this button. Whoa, we're in a different screen. I've gone through and I've converted got all the episodes here, and I've got every total of like how well they did in every episode. And if I scroll along, we've got like the number of episodes they've won, the number of tasks, prize tasks, the individual solo tasks, the team tasks, and the live tasks. So every type of task, all ground up into data. One thing that's important to distinct is that obviously the earlier seasons only had, only had a handful of episodes, didn't they? They had 6 episodes, 5 episodes for season 2, so very few tasks. But I am comparing the data based on number of episodes or number of tasks. So you get an average. So it kind of equalizes it across obviously, the more tasks you do, the more the more that will fluctuate the score. But the fairest way I can do it, rather than just saying this person got only a grand total of say 93 points, therefore that's not as good as someone down here got in the hundreds, right? So instead I balance it based on how well they did on average. So I'm doing all this now. One website that's been fantastically useful for me, particularly in the solo tasks. So in the solo tasks, we've got them divided up by creative tasks, mental tasks, physical tasks, and social tasks. And one website that's been massively helpful to me has been this one, which is taskmaster.info, because it has done the job for me of breaking down pretty much every task across every episode. Now, I said pretty much one sentence ago, because it did all of the episodes for every season except the most recent season. They literally announced at the end of last year that they're going to stop doing this, so they've stopped counting. And so I've got all my data except for the most recent series. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comb through every episode of season 21, picking out just purely the solo tasks, not the live tasks, not the prize tasks, not the team tasks, and not the special tasks. The special tasks are the ones where it's just one person doing a task, and it's kind of almost like a prank that no one else is doing that task. So in this season, it'll be Joel with the egg. That won't count. In previous seasons, it's been Mark Watson doing the texts and so on. So if you're very familiar with Taskmaster, you will be aware what the special tasks are. And so I'm not counting any of those. I'm just doing the solo tasks where they're on their own doing said task. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide whether it counts as being a creative, mental, physical, or social task. And then that will allow me to format it with the rest of the data, and then I can finally build my video out of it. We're going to have to comb through all of Season 21. I have every episode of Season 21 pre-downloaded. And so I just now need to go through and decide what to do. So I've got everything here. Is it not going to live update the video? Yeah, of course, it will jump straight into Joe in the middle of a Joe monologue. We're just going to crack on. So I've got this spreadsheet, which is a nice empty spreadsheet, which is where I'm tracking all the solo tasks. And I've also got this Wikipedia fandom, which is broken down every episode by points. I don't know why there's a fucking foot. Every task and how many points they've scored. So that will help us gather all the points and stuff. But we need to allocate that given task to a category. So let's crack on. So the first, we're going to ignore the prize task. We're going to ignore the special task. We're going to go to the first solo task, which is find a worm. So just to help me out with this, I'm going to call it 1-2. So it's the second task of the first episode. And it is find a worm. Now, find a worm. Now, I'm assuming you're familiar with Taskmaster, or at least I'm hoping I'm not going to do any spoilers here. I'm going to do what I can to avoid big spoilers, but I mean, I did just whip by all the numbers on there. So if you are like holding out on what the final results were, oops. Yeah. So finding a worm, I think that's a very straightforward physical task. Now, the thing is, I would say a lot of tasks are all to some degree mental tasks. Like, to some degree, they all require that you use your mind to, like, it's all puzzle solving, right? So to some degree, they're all mental tasks. But we gotta like, mental tasks, I think, are more reserved for when they're purely puzzles. Or there's some puzzle element you need to work out. Creative are obviously more where they get to do something. Well, it's creative, obviously. So, wherever they get to do like a short film or something like that. Social is where they have to interact with somebody else. So that could be when they're talking to Fred the Swede, or sometimes it's just doing stuff with Alex Horn. That becomes a social task. So I'm going to assume, and feel free to jump in the chat with your opinions on what category this task constitutes as. But I don't think it's creative. Whilst there is creativity involved in, the ways people find a different type of worm, and mental is reserved because people have to work out how to find a worm, I think this is really purely a physical task. They have to go find a worm. So I'm going to call this a physical task. It can share topics. It can share categories. It can be a mental task and a physical task. It can, I'm putting ones in here just to, rather than ticks, just to make things easy. So it can be both, but I don't think this is really a mental task. I think this is a physical task. You want to do this for the Danish version, Al 500. Go ahead, go nuts. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not doing it like all the Australian, New Zealand, and all the other different countries' version of Taskmaster. This is just the UK one. I'm also, and probably controversially, I'm not including the Champion of Champion episodes, nor the New Year's treats. Just the core basic series. Just because it makes the data a little bit fiddlier when you've got contestants in. It's basically a different series. Yeah, it just makes the data a bit messy, and this has already been very messy, where you've got like people who have been ill during the live task, and so they've had to get somebody else to sort of take over to do the live task. I've had to add them getting another live task in that category. It makes it messy, and I just want to avoid messiness. So, physical task. I've got a separate section for gift, because in the early series there was a lot of prizes, or a lot of tasks that were buy a present for the Taskmaster. So that's where I would mark it as being a gift. That did not occur in this series. Then there's objective, subjective, or combo. So how it is judged, because I'm also going to decide basically if somebody was harshly judged. I think that'd be a fun thing to have in the data. who just got like, particularly by Greg, who got like ranked worse compared to other people. So is this an objective task or a subjective? I guess it's objective. It's objective insofar as they have they have to achieve a goal. They have to find a worm. So that's objective. The subjective part is whether something counts as being a worm or not, and that becomes debatable. As like one person finds a gummy worm, one person finds what's it? The young beetle. I forgot the name of it, but they find a different kind of worm, a mealworm. That's it, which isn't a worm. But I'm gonna and that was those had like subjective decisions, which I think is like across a lot of tasks. There's always a degree of like subjectiveness as to whether or not something counts. I'm gonna class this as an objective. And then I just need to go in and plug in the numbers of the scores. And I'm going to do that separately, I think. I'll spare you going through every piece of data there. And I'm just going to get through what the task counts as. So, the next one, so ignoring the team task. Next one is put the most t-shirts on Alex. This is with the t-shirt gun. And that was a fantastic one. And I definitely think that's another physical. There is mental elements of like you've got to land it on the targets, and there's a whole system of like something counting for more than others and so on and so forth. So there's a little bit of like gamification to it, but I think this is just a physical task and an objective one because it's all about where it lands. So it's a nice straightforward one. I'm going to call that it's the fourth one. So 1-4 is a physical and it's objective. All right, so cracking on. We're into episode 2 now. So, choose how much of Alex's bowling outfit to wear throughout part 2. Oh, this is with the pins. Okay, so this is like a 2-part task, and I'm only going to count it as one. If this website counts it as one task, it's one task. I'm not going to count them separately. I'd only count it separately if they're scored separately. So it's get the bowling ball in the bucket. You must stay on stage at all times. There's a 2-minute penalty for every skittle touched, and all skittles must be standing when the bowling ball enters the bucket. So this feels very physical again. But is there a mental element? Because there's the whole deciding about what. There's kind of the bluff situation of like you're deciding what to wear beforehand. So I think there's a degree of you can't hear Eddie saying the word cracking without hearing cracking norks. Well, I don't have cracking norks anymore. My norks are thoroughly... Oh, there's a fucking ear now. My norks are thoroughly underwhelming now, I'm afraid, because of the weight loss. If anything, they're a little bit sad. All right, so I'd say this is physical and mental because there's the whole... Like, you've got to think about what you're going to wear throughout the task. So, I keep fucking forgetting to do this. So, it's 2-2. So, Series 2, task number 2. Not Series 2, I meant Episode 2. So, that. And then it's... I think it's pretty objective. Because you get a time penalty and you got to put the ball in the bucket. So, yeah, it's pretty objective. Very straightforward. So... And like I'm just cracking on with this. Feel free, as I said, to if you have any thoughts, let me know in the chat. Equally, if you've got questions or anything like that, also feel free to throw that in the chat. This can be a little conversation. Doesn't have to be so one-sided. It's a foot again. Why is there so many fucking feet? All right. Do exactly as your reflection does. You must decide what Alex does, then mirror him. So, whilst I would say that there's a degree of physicality in this. This strikes me more as a creative task. This is very much a creative task. So this is going to be 2-3. This is a creative task. You know, it could also be a physical task too, I suppose, because you'll be... Or is it a social task because you're getting Alex Horn to do the same thing? Jeez, what does it count as? Would it be a... So no, I'd rather try to keep it limited. It can be multiple categories. It has once been all 4 categories. But I'm trying to limit it to 2 at most, unless it's a particular circumstance. So it's physical in that you're physically, there's a physicality to it because he's trying to mirror what you're doing. But then, because you're trying to interact, well, Alex is just copying what you're doing. So I don't think that counts as a social. You're not like working with him per se, or you're not trying to like, yeah. So you're not trying to win him over or anything. He's just going to do what you tell him to. So I think we're going to call it a creative physical. There's a lot of physical tasks in this one, but that's what we're going to do. And this one is very subjective. This is one that's definitely a subjective one. All right. So then, number 4. Achieve the most things on this list before the balloon pops. If you do the special thing, the balloon will stop inflating for 10 seconds. You must not touch the balloon mechanism. So, this says mental. This is a mental task. This is this is a puzzle element, and you gotta solve that puzzle. So we're gonna go with 2-4. This is a mental task. And is it subjective or objective? You got to do the most things on the list before the balloon pops. Yeah, there's objective. There's not much subjectivity there. So that's very much objective. Then the live task, which we don't count. Moving on to episode 3. We're going to speed through this, actually, I reckon. He says, put on the headphones, obey the instructions, and build the tower. When you have built the correct tower, you must clap 3 times. So, this is a mental task, I think. Yes, there's physical elements because you're building the tower with the bricks and stuff, but this is a mental task. So, we're going to go with 3-2. It is a mental task. And objective or subjective? Combo would be like if there's a joint element to it. Sometimes it's like, I don't know, like say paint the biggest painting. So the painting will be judged as a creative, but its size being a subjective. So sometimes those scorings are combined. But obey the tasks, and when you build the correct tower, yeah, so that's definitely objective because you have to build it to a particular design. All right. Task number 4. Get to the top of the staircase. You must take one step at a time. Each step you must discard a letter and say at least one word. You must not use a word containing the letter you have discarded, and must not repeat any words. Otherwise, you start again. So, all right, fantastic. This is a good mental task. Oh, I keep forgetting to do the fucking number thing. It is 3-4. 3-4. And get to the top of the staircase. This is definitely a mental task for sure. I don't think it counts as a physical. You are climbing upstairs, but it's not. I don't know how physical that really is. You're just walking up the stairs. I guess there's physicality to it because you have to remember to take a step as well, which is how Kameo got caught out. So, all right, I'll class this as a mental physical. Ooh, mental physical. There's creativity too. You've got to come up with words, but I think that's fine. Objective, I think, as well, because it's all about how many steps you climb. So that will count for that. And then live task, we don't count. Episode 4. Make something boring exciting. Creative. Nice and straightforward. 4-2, a creative task, which is subjective. I think pretty much every creative task is going to be subjective. Work out what food is under the cloche. When you have done that, and only when you've done that, you may remove the cloche and eat the food. All right. And then there's the whole incorrect answer from your previous question. So, all right, 3-4, 4-3 is what I mean to say. Sorry, I'm getting really confused with numbers, which is not a good thing to do when you're trying to do data analysis. This is a mental task. I think this is. There's no creativity. There's no physicality. There's not. There is a social element. Oh shit! Maybe that is social because you're working with Alex. Yeah, that's social because you're working with Alex who's giving you wrong answers and stuff. So, all right. Okay. So this is a mental and social task. And it is objective because you got to work out what it is before you remove the cloche and then eat it. So, yes, I think that's pretty straightforward there. This says complete all 3 tasks and then does not elaborate further. Fantastic. I think this is the one with like the balloon and the stuff. I'm gonna have to get the episode up. Where are you episodes? That's episode 4. So boot that up. And I have to find where that is in the episode. That's the cloche.
To do with.
Am I allowed to open this?
Okay. So we've got this. So yeah, it's the 3 different tasks, and you do them in any order, and they affect. Yeah. Okay. All right. This is screaming mental task to me. It's not very physical. I mean, there are physical elements in that you've got to spin around and stuff, but
Because
You've got a choice.
and every sentence with the word may.
let's have a look.
One.
Yeah, so there's physical elements in that you got to spin around, and I don't know. It's not really physical. It does tell you got to spin, so it is physical. All right, fine. I'll make it a mental physical. I forgot the number again. 4-4. 4-4. It is a mental physical, and it's a time-based thing, I think.
2.
Let's have a look.
Because it kits and stuff. I was so
Fastest wins, and you must repeat.
Fastest wins. Okay, so it is the fastest wins. It is objective. Moving on. So the next episode. Write down a prediction for an unlikely situation to occur in 15 minutes and then make that occur. So that's creative. 5-1. No, not 1. 2. Right? It's the second task. Yeah. 1-2. 5-2. I'm sorry. So that's a creative task, which is subjective. All right. Nice. That's a team task. Moving on. Get the ball in the glass. You must not move the pipe or the glass. The ball must travel through the pipe. So this is the one where it's like it's bouncing off the pots and pans and stuff, right? So how is it judged? This is kind of a big question. How was that one judged? That's episode 5. Where is it? Okay.
Oh, it's exactly.
ball.
Fastest wins.
Fastest wins. All right. So that makes it nice and objective. So 5-4. 5-4. 5-4. Then it is a creative task. And it is objective. Is it a creative task? No, it's not. It's a mental task. And a physical task? I guess there's physics. It works with physics, so I guess. Yeah, alright, fine. It's a physical. Lots of physical tasks in this series. Alright. Moving on. 6. Be brave. Yeah, that's creative. So that is 6-2. 6-2. Be brave is creative, and that is a subjective. Straightforward. Wing kokonkers. Kokonkers with coconuts. So the kokonkers one, it's creative, I would suppose, because I mean, I don't think it's certainly not physical, because you're not doing the kokonka part, and I suppose there might be a mental element to it in you're trying to figure out the best strategy, but I think this is probably more creative than mental. So I'm going to go creative. I've forgotten the fucking number again. It is 6-3. 6-3. So researching for an headache video. Yes, Nova the Golden Giant. I am researching for an headache video. I'm converting the latest series of Taskmaster into data. I've already done it for seasons 1 to 20, and I just need to do it for season 21. This is objective. Interesting. This is a creative task that's objective because there's an objective outcome. Maybe I should throw one out for mental, just because it's like you've got to strategize. Or is strategizing creative? Is strategizing just a creative thing? Mental is puzzle, but I don't know if there's much of a puzzle element to this. You're strategizing, so what to do? Is the Kakonka's task a mental task as well as a creative task? I say definitely creative. Probably not mental. It's probably not a very mental task. Yeah, where do we put strategizing? Where do we land strategizing? Is that a creative thing or a puzzle-solving mental thing? Planning ahead. I guess that's mental. I guess that's a puzzle. So all right, fine. I'll make it creative and mental because it is like you're strategizing how good to make your Kakonkas. Bob Nick, yes. I thought this would just be fun to do a live research phase on Twitch. I used to do it, and I'd like to do it again, so I'm doing it again. And Rich K. Kujira, really like the Thomas the Tank Engine video. Thank you very much. That Rev was a character. He was, and I hoped that would be. I hope that would be fun. I hope that people would think, oh wow, what a quirky guy. And I'm sure glad to learn a lot about him. But there's a gang of people on Twitter who are not happy with me. And they've been quite vocal about it, which is fun. But, you know, they're on Twitter, so who cares? No. No, I don't want to dismiss people out of hand or anything like that. You know, they're welcome to their criticisms and stuff. Some of it's getting a little bit personal, so I don't care for that element too much. But they can not like the video. That's fine. I thought the video might be a little bit polarizing because, you know, this is a Thomas video by someone who's someone who's not within the Thomas fandom, which I consider to be a bit gatekeepy. But, you know, I suppose I'm not a dedicated Thomas the Tank Engine channel, so I'm considered an outsider on this regard. But, yeah, I just wanted to do something that was... My important thing that I wanted to do with that video was make a video that wasn't just fuck you Thomas fans, wasn't just dunking on people. Because that's not what I do. That's not my thing. I don't want to do dunks. I don't want to do this thing sucks and here's why. You know, I mean, I'm not against criticism. I'm not against fair criticism. But I don't want to set out making a negative first video. And so I was really careful. I did like tons of research. I spent months learning about trains. To like... Yeah, and there's like tons that there was a lot of stuff that I researched in the video that just wasn't put in the video because I needed to understand everything to then oversimplify it, if you know what I mean. So I learned a lot about like trains in World War II, and none of that made it into the video. But I needed to know because I wanted to know. Yeah, I just wanted to know a lot of it to then simplify it rather than going in learning very little and saying very little because. You know, there could be elements of a wider context, even if it's just trading out one word for another word, that would at least show that I've done a bit more work than I read Wikipedia once. You know, so, and if people didn't like that video, that's fine. But I'm very happy with that video, and I'm sorry that there are some people who really didn't like that video, but you know, that's up to them. They can they can shout in their little corner if they want to. Now, where was I? 6, 4. So, appearing in the most photos, holding a different thing in your mouth, each thing bigger than the last thing. Only one thing may be taken in the lab each time. All right. So, this is physical. To me, this is a physical thing. You've got to run in and out holding things in your mouth and taking photos of yourself. So this just says it's a physical task. 64. 64. No, not 64. This isn't a Donkey Kong. It's a physical. And it's objective because it's all small thing bigger than the last things. So each object being bigger than the last thing. So yeah, okay. Fine. Moving on. So turn on the telly. You may not touch the telly and eat a donut. So, okay. This to me is that's a mental task because it's a puzzle. So, the 7-2. Yes. It is a mental task. And it is objective because there's an objective goal of turning on the TV. So that is fine. Next one. 7-3 is a team task. We're ignoring that. 7-4. Make the most socks stand up. There, that's creative. So 7-4. It's creative. Now, is it objective or subjective? Because it is objective in that it has to be the most, and that's what wins. I mean, let me check the scores. Yeah. I mean, the second one's Armando Iannucci. So he does get the point because it is the most, but I guess there's a subjective element of whether something counts. Combo, you reckon? I'm not sure this one constitutes as combo. Combo is when there's more like there's a second element to it. Like as I said, the good example is like paint the biggest picture, and it's like it's painting the best picture, but also the largest of the pictures. So there's an objective and a subjective element to it. This one feels more like it's just an objective, make the most. So I think this one is just objective. Appreciate the input, and that's not me dismissing you. I feel like this is probably more objective than combo. Next up, 7-5 is the life task. Ignoring that, moving on. Episode 8, censor yourself unnecessarily. A nice creative task. 8-2. It's a creative task, and it's subjective. Nope. Wrong spreadsheet. There we go. Take the most photos of at least 50% of the Taskmaster assistants. Okay, so this is one where they're blindfolded and they're running around with a camera trying to take a photo of the Taskmaster who's covered, of Alex covered in bells. So, let's just write down 8-3. This is definitely a physical task because they're running around. But there's a mental element to it too because of the bells and trying to take photos of him. So yeah, this is a mental physical combo. And it is objective because they are judged on how much, like taking at least 50% of the Taskmaster. So yeah, it's definitely an objective win. Do not look away from this task. Put 9 nuts or nails in the nappy. Every time you look away, 1 minute will be added to your time. So, all right, 8-4. 8-4. Yes, I also enjoy the ones where Alex runs around or does exercise or is otherwise knackered. There's the one where he was on the bike and just seems to wipe himself out. So, yeah, do not look away. Put 9 nuts or nappies in this nappy every time you look away. So this one feels it's definitely a mental task. I wouldn't say it's very physical, despite the fact that you've got to, like, fixate your glance at the task. And I don't think... It's definitely not social, it's definitely not creative. So I think, yeah, this is definitely a mental task. And it's objective because there's a goal. You've got to put 9 somethings. I felt like if it was 9 nuts or nails, my temptation would be to put my fingers in the nappy because my fingernails are there. So just do that and you win. But then I thought of that after fingernails had already been discovered midway through the task. So I don't know if I would have thought of that immediately. Why do I keep getting fucking feet? Like ads for feet. This is not what I want. This is not a foot stream. Alright, moving on. So I've done that. So episode 9. Workout. How are we doing so far? We're going for 40 minutes. That's all good. Your cam window blocks the ad text, makes it even more funnier without. Yeah. So now I've just got a sleeping guy. Oh no, it's got a bottle in his ear. Your ads are curated based on your browsing habits. Oh shit. I don't think these ones are. This is an ad. Oh, I can't even show you, but this is an ad for tinnitus. Tinnitus. To do with hearing or ears, and that one I've not had a problem with. And the feet one is to do with like nerve endings and shit. And it's like that one. Oh, is it gonna be a ear or foot? Euphoria. All right, both I guess. They contain feet and ears. I've never seen the show. Right. So done that one. So 9.2. Work out what powers the bulb in the lab. You may only give one answer. So all right, this is a pretty good mental task. 9.2, 9-2. And so yeah, a mental task, very good, and it's objective because there's a straightforward puzzle element to solve. Leave the pink balls on the other side of the court. So this is the tennis one with the gong. Fantastic. This is a really good physical task. Is there a social element in that you're sort of interacting with Alex as well? Does that count? Did the one with the bells count as a social? No, the ones with the bells don't count as social because you're not really, because the bells are. I think the bells are pretty straightforward. It's not like you're interacting with Alex to make him jingle the bell or anything like that. I don't know. I don't think I would count that as a social task. You're not like working with him. So this one. Definitely physical, but does it also count as a social element? Because you are interacting with Alex and he's freezing when you strike the gong. So would that count as you know? Would it? You'd say so, Bob? Okay. So we're going with a physical social. Okay. All right, we'll do that then. A physical social. The 9 dash. Was it 3? Yeah, number 3. Was it 9? Yes. Physical social. Boopity boop. And it is objective because it's based on the number of balls. So I don't have vertigo dizziness. These ads are thoroughly useless. They are not capturing any. They haven't algorithmed anything about me. They don't know who I am. So all right, the flip flop task, which is this is the one where you design a forfeit. And so it's all to do with the best forfeit, I believe. So this is a creative task. It's about designing and yeah. So I disagree with being social. Ooh, controversy. You disagree with it being a social task. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree that the social element is ropey. You know what? I am gonna. Sorry, Bob. I'm gonna ignore what you said and said it was a social. I'm gonna take off that it's social. Sorry. The masses, by masses I mean one person, has spoken. But yeah, the flip-flops, that's creative. That's definitely creative. So 9-4. It is a creative task, which means it is subjective. Then episode 10. So, sorry if you haven't seen episode 10 and you don't want spoilers for who won and stuff, close your eyes, go do a domestic task or something. Just turn this into second screen viewing or something. But anyway, so I have to scroll to see it. Egg cup with lint. All right, Egg cup. Fill in the egg cup with lint. And the reason, so yes, Rich K has not seen it, but wants to know why it's called domestic bum fluff, because that's what Amano Inucci calls lint. Because it's all to do with, it's dust, it's bits from clothes and hair, it's domestic bum fluff. The egg cup task. So 10-2. While it's there's definitely a creative element because you're coming up with where to source the lint. And a physical element because you've got to gather the lint and stuff. I'm wondering whether this is a mental task. Because you are you're trying to solve fuck, what do I do with this one? You're trying to solve. It's objective, but scope for creative. Or are you talking about the flip-flop one? Yeah, you might be talking about the flip-flop one. So yeah, the lint. Gathering lint in a cup. It is a... fuck. It's a physical task, but there's creative problem solving. But I'd argue this is mental. Do you know what? This would be a good time to refer to this website and find a similar task, because they've done egg cup tasks before. I just now have to remember what season they did an egg cup task. There was something about like the shame cave. I think it was season 3. Yeah, Polyphene Grief Cave. So they did fill an egg cup with sweat. So how do they judge this? Mental and physical. Now, do we agree? So it at least confirms mental, but do we agree that the egg cup full of lint is also physical? I'm not sure. I'm not sure it is a physical one. Like, obviously, yes, there's physical elements because you got to go do something, but like every task has a physical element to it if you think of it like that way. If anything, lint in the cup seems to be scored on most stuff, but the main selling point of humor was doing it creatively. Yes, that suggests there's more of a creative element to it. I mean, let's tick mental, no matter... wrong spreadsheet. Let's take the mental one, because it's definitely a mental task, but does it also... I don't think it's physical. I guess my big question is it also creative? That one I'm not sure on. Because you got to source what the lint is. I guess with sweat, you know where you get that from, right? You got to make yourself, you got to make your body hot. And the same with tears. That's also physical, because you got to generate that yourself. Lint, you don't generate lint, or you can't on command generate lint. So I would say that this probably leans towards more of a creative element of sourcing where the lint's from. So I'm going to say creative. I'm going to say it's creative and mental. And because it's about filling egg cups, I'm going to say it's objective. So, we'll call it there. You might not generate lint on command. Oh, Potato Joe says, or Potato one says, you may not generate lint on command. I have a very specific set of skills. Incredible. Does it just sort of pour out of your belly button like a Play-Doh factory? You know, you got the pump and you're squeezing it out through a sausage maker or something. Being able to generate lint, says Pony Braddock, wouldn't even be the weirdest X-Men power. That's fair. All right, so moving on to the most exhilarating near miss with this paint balloon. I'd say this is a physical and creative task. So, number 10. I forgot the fucking number 10. 3. 10. 3. It is a creative physical task. And it is objective insofar as it has to be a near miss. Ooh, this could be a combo. Because it has to be a near miss for it to be an objective count. For it to count objectively. But then it's subjectively judged. This could be a combo. This could be our first combo, because it's objectively a near miss, because it mustn't hit you, but it is subjective over which one's the best. So there could be a combo. I think that's fair. Would you count that as a combo? Or would you just say that that's just subjective because if it's just if it isn't a near miss and therefore it hits you, that's just a disqualification anyway, so it wouldn't have counted no matter what. There's no I'm leaning towards combo. Is that 10-3? Did I say yeah, 10-3 is the near miss. So yeah, I think that's a combo. Right? Okay. And that concludes our rankings of all the solo tasks, and of which there are 25 of them. That's good. That averages out. There's a generally average like about 24, 25, 26 of the solo tasks. 24, 25, 26. And so, all right. So next I need to do the scoring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this tab, move it over here so I can see it on my second screen. And then I'm just going to go through the tedious task of plugging in all the scores for everyone. So, moving up here. So, 5, 3. No, I'm looking at the prize task. I'm looking at the wrong one already. So it's the worm task. So 4, 2, 3, 5, 1. Then joining late. Was late joining today. Could you start again? Says baking analyst. No, I won't start. Or shall I just delete it all and start again? You're right. All right. The t-shirt task is 4, 1, 5, 2, 3. This is thrilling footage, by the way. You're in for a treat. You're watching me plugging numbers on a spreadsheet, like work simulator. Then 12, 2, 3. It is 4, 2, 5, 1, 4. It's 2 4s? Yes. Okay, 2 people get 4. Then the next episode. Oh, wait a minute. What did I do wrong there? Wait, did I do something wrong? Why have I got 2 4? Have I fucked up already? Have I immediately fucked up? I missed the mirror task. So this score is for the second one. This is for the mirror task. There we go. All right, we're back on track. So 3 2 is 4 1 5 3 2. 3 4 is 5 3 2 1 4. Then we're on to episode 4, which is 3 1 5 5 4. Number 3. Yep. Okay, so 4 0 5 0 3. Then 4 4. 3 2 1 5 4. Has the music stopped? It did stop. Why did the music stop? How weird. There we go. What? Stupid music. There we go. All right. Right. Doing some editing in the background, and there is Darmok. So I'm reminded by your like in Star Trek Next Generation bit from the time loop video. Yeah. So the whole reason of me keep doing that bit in that time travel video, bringing it back to Star Trek, because originally I just wanted to do a Star Trek video, and it was Tom who advised me, hey, maybe don't do one that's specifically about Star Trek because you might alienate people who don't like Star Trek. So just do a video that's like generally talking about time travel, but you can like keep bringing in Star Trek. And that's what I did. And then I upset people because I purposely didn't talk about things like Doctor Who. Like I teased what I would and then just talk about Star Trek. So that's where that comes from. So I think I just annoyed. I got people to watch it at least, but people were annoyed. But I did dedicate time to talking about Doctor Who, a show I don't watch, and no one watches anymore because it's been cancelled. Sorry, too soon. Like I know people like it. I'm not mocking you for liking a thing. It's just this is not my bag. So 2, 5, 4, 3, 1. Episode 6. So that's the Be Brave task. 3. No, that's number 6. 3, 4, 2, 4, 5. 6, 3 is Kokonka's B2. No, those are the numbers are the wrong way around. 6, 4, 5, 1, 3, 4, 2. Then we're into episode 7. We have 2, 4, 3, 1, and 5. Then, is that right? Did I do it right? 2, 4, 3, 1, 5. Yep. Okay. 5, 7, 4, which is 3, 5, 2, 1, 4. I'm just saying random numbers now. 7, 4, 3, 5, 2, 1, 4. That's right. 3, 5, 2, 1, 4. Yeah, okay. That was the socks task. Right, moving on to episode 8. The censoring yourself. 5, 4, 4, 4, 4. The photo one, which is 4, 4, 2, 1, 5. Don't look away at the task with the nails. 5, 2, 3, 4, 1. Nearly done. 9, 2, which is 2, 0, 5, 4, 3. Then this one is 1, 5, 3, 2, 4. This one is 4, 3, 1, 5, 2. And then in the last task, there's only 2 solo tasks, which is 1, 4, 3, 5, 2. And the last one is 2, 4, 3, 5, 2. Done. All right, fantastic. So now we're going to plug in this data into our big data spreadsheet. And that's our spreadsheet finished. So I'm going to grab this spreadsheet, move it over to my second screen here so I can see it over here. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here. So first of all, I'm going to do an average of all the solo tasks. So I'm just going to double check my count. I believe I said that there were 25 solo tasks. There are 25 solo tasks. So I'm going to grab this cell. I'm going to say it's divided by 25. No, not 25.3, 25. Then I'm going to do the totals for the entirety of the solo tasks. So I want the total, which is 81. So for example, Amy Gledhill got 81 points out of 25 tasks. So she gets an average of 3.24 per solo task. Then I'm going to repeat the process for the other contestants. Nope. No, he did not get that many points. It is 70 divided by 25. Then 83 for Joanna. And then 74. Yeah, so Joel did not do very well. He did like average, I'd say. Just wasn't like one of the most terrible people. I can show you who some of the most terrible people were. And 80 for Kamel. So this is where our judgments now of each of the type of tasks will now come into play. You should do, Pony Braddock says, you should do a video about Aardman TV shows. This way, thanks to Sean, you get a spreadsheet. God damn it. Yes. I won't do that. I won't do a spreadsheet. I love the pun, though. I very much appreciate it. Right. So, we have 10 creative tasks. So, yeah, if we just look at, like, the last season, we can see how accurate we were. There were 11 creative tasks. This season, we decided there were 10. So, that works out averagely. 13 mentals compared to 18 mentals. So, slightly lower. Physicals, we have 11 compared to 15 in the last season. And social, which generally has very few, we only got the 1. And in this one, there were 3 socials. And yeah, sometimes there are 0 social tasks in the series, so it's not surprising that that one's very low. All right, so we have got 10 10 creative tasks. And there is going to be overlap because I know we doubled up some of these tasks to be like, a creative and a thing. But we're just judging it just the creative ones together. So it's a 30 divided by 10, so making it an average of 3. Then we do the rest. 38 for Armando. Because that way, even if, like, say they lost Taskmaster, they might have been exceptionally good at a type of task. So 35. Joanna Page got 3. And Camille got 33. So there we go. So, for example, Joel Dommett, Amanu Nucci and then Joel Dommett generally got very high for creative tasks, even though Joel Dommett didn't win. So that's what I find quite interesting. Mental tasks. So I'm going to go back to my other spreadsheet over here. So I said there were 13 mental tasks. So I'm going to change that second number to 13. And he got 40 points for it. And I'll just copy that formula all the way down. 30. And yeah, look, comparatively, Armando Iannucci got very low for mental tasks compared to his creative tasks. So, you see? It's not all about being the fastest or the smartest or the most creative. It's a combination of elements. 44. So yeah, Joanna Page got very high for mental tasks, so she was very good at the puzzle stuff. Now, no. So go over here for the physical tasks. 11. Then I actually get their points. So player 1 got 36. And then copy that all the way down. 32. Next one is 33. Next one, 33 as well. And last one, 32. So Camille actually got very low for physical tasks, which is surprising given the size of the man's arms. You'd think he'd be a very physical man. So for the social one, there is simply just 1. So this will be a very easy bit of maths. Let me just move this tab along. So the social one, it is just, I'm going to say it's equals 4 divided by 1. I'm going to keep it, even though I could just type in 4. I'm going to maintain the formula just for ease. So this one is 0 divided by 1. This is 5 divided by 1. 0 divided by 1 and 3. So when I'm coming to make the video, I'm going to have to reflect that, like, hi, yeah, so some people got, like, really, 5 out of 5 for social tasks, but there was only one. There was only one of a kind of the social tasks, so it won't, it doesn't really affect things. So if I'm going to dedicate a section talking about social tasks, I'd have to find one with a bit more variety than just one task. Now, I'm going to score the objective ones. So out of objectives, there are 18 objectives. Let's change that number to 18. So 57 objective tasks. And everyone else's data, 44. 62. It's 46. And 58. Then the subjective ones. So you can't see it, but I'm in the other tab. I'm just sorting them out by that respective thing. So there were 6 of them. Oh, 6. There we go. So 22 subjective tasks. And then 22 again. 18 for player 3. 23 for player 4. And 20 for player 5. And then combo. Combo. Again, very few. So I'm going to say equals 2 divided by... Oh, apparently I'm not. Where are you? Equals 2 divided by 1. Drag that down. What's happened to the music again? Why does it keep fucking stopping? It's been like... It's like 4 hours worth of random music and it just keeps deciding, nah, I'm done. This one. Play a fucking song. This is 4. We're so close to done. 3. 5. And 2. All right, cool. All right. So, that's our data done. That's all our data done. Wowee. So, what do you want to know? Who wants to know? I now can answer any question about who's the best player at this or the worst player at this. What needs to be done now? Asked Bobnik. Well, so again, what I'm going to do for the video is I'm going to do a video called How to Win Taskmaster, which is I will review this data and say, so how'd you win, say, task number 1, the prize task, and then I will find who is the best at the prize task, and then therefore investigate what they did to be so consistently good at the prize tasks, and so on. So there is analysis. It's not purely data. There will be analysis of like, well, this player is number 1 at this particular element. Let's now look into what they did to be so good at that element, and so on. So, I mean, I don't imagine this will be in any way actually helpful. Like, if there's a upcoming Taskmaster contestant who finds this video and actually tries to use it, apply it, I doubt this will actually work. You know, it's hard to be like, well, just be more good. You know, just be good at things. But you never know. There could be an interesting approach that could influence. I mean, fucking hell. Imagine that. Somebody on Taskmaster is like, well, I saw this video by Headache, and he gave me some helpful advice on how to win Taskmaster. So, let's... So we can see who got the most points per episode. Who got on average the most points per episode? John Robbins and Catherine Ryan. Interesting that John Richardson's quite high up considering he didn't win Taskmaster. But yeah, so that's the most points per episode. But I don't know how much that really tells us. There are a few people who never won an episode of Taskmaster at all. So Aisling B, Ramesh, yeah, there's 10 people. Phil Wang, Nish Kumar, unsurprisingly. So points per task. Who did the best at this one? So John Robbins, Dara Brian, Sarah Millican did very well, but she was in the same season as Dara Brian, so she lost to him. Mae Martin, Sophie Duker, Joanne McNally, interesting, but again, she was in the same season as John Robbins, so she didn't win. I had a note from Morgana Robinson that she wins the series, but she only won 1 episode. And I think the same applies to... it's not in the right order. I think the same applies to Joanna Page. I think she only wins... No, she wins 2. She wins 2 episodes. No, I'm looking at the wrong line. 3. So the same applies to her. She also won the series despite only winning 1 actual episode. So it's not about who wins the most episodes. Just whoever's consistently getting the most, most points. So, all right, let's just do, for a bit of fun, creative. Let's sort this by this. Who is the most creative person? Joe Wilkinson. And Noel Fielding, Ramesh Raghunathan, Gus Kahn, Fern Brady. So, yeah. Not winners, but certainly very high in the creative elements. And the lowest creative person, Catherine Ryan, interesting. John Richardson, Doc Brown, Rogine Connerty. Yeah, so these are the worst at being creative people. I could look at the subjective thing. So, who got judged favorably? Fern Brady. Fern Brady got the most, like, Greg's, when he has to make a subjective call, he is seemingly the most kind to Fern Brady, followed by Noel Fielding and Gus Kahn. At the very bottom, he harshly judged Catherine Parkinson the most. That's unsurprising. She wasn't very good at Taskmaster. She struggled massively. So, like, yeah, I guess, like, one thing people often ask about Taskmaster about there being a loser of losers. But, yeah, the people they say would be like Nish Kumar and Phil Wang and stuff like that. And I think there's a few other, like, contenders for losers than just those people. Points per task, prize. So yeah, you can prize tasks. Let's do. Oh yeah, I should look at the teams actually. So there's team tasks as well. Who was like the best team? So the best team, we got a gang up here. So in the duos, we've got Lee Mack and Mike Wozniak, who were a team in season 11, and then in season 17, John Robbins, Joanne McNally, and Sophie Willan. Now, what's interesting to me in this is that the team, like you might think that if the series winner is also in a team, that team is more likely to win because that team includes who's going to win the series overall. So therefore, their presence lifts up everyone else's. But that's not always the case. Like here, yeah, Lee Mack and Mike Wozniak, best team compared to the other team, but they do not win the season. They do not win their respective season. So it's not always a given that just because you're a series winner, you automatically make your team the best. It does work for John Robbins, but no, not for anyone else. And the worst teams are the other teams in that series. So series 11 has Charlotte Ritchie, Jamel Maddox, and Sarah Kendall, who did win that season, and Nick Mohammed and Nick Pemberton. And it's going to be interesting to look into what made those team dynamics work and not work. Bobnik asks, are we going to look at the New Year's Treat episodes and the Champion specials? No, I'm not going to include those. To keep things a bit more straightforward and simplified, I'm not going to include New Year's Treats because they're generally one-offs anyway. And the Champion of Champions, I think, will skew the data a bit too much. And I've already got some data skewing going on because, for example... So say, like, for example, in the team tasks, I've made a note for Josh Widdicombe because in Season 2, Episode 3, he becomes a bonus third teammate for the duo for the team of two in Season 2, or Series 2. So he gets a bonus I was in a team element there, but I don't want to do that across, like, the champions because I think that would be too much additional data to work with, or it may just overcomplicate the data too much. So I've already got some fiddling here, like in the live tasks. Catherine Ryan, so Katie Wicks was unwell for 2 episodes of season 9, and so for the live tasks, other players took over. So Catherine Ryan has an additional live task, so that's where her data is adjusted accordingly. So I'm keeping it just to the core show. I'm going to ignore the specials. Kerry Godlingman was the other one, but she didn't win the live task. So she gets an additional point for, like, having done a live task, but that affects her score. It lowers because she didn't win that live task. So and that's why as well with the live tasks, I don't separate I don't separate whether they're in a team for the live task or not. I just rank whether or not they won the task. If they win as a team, then all players get a point. If they win as an individual, they only get a point. I'm not ranking it by score because the scores for the final tasks are like extra fiddly. Sometimes it's like only one person gets 5 points, everyone else gets 0. Sometimes it's split up with teams. To make that simple, I just said that there was they just get a tick for winning the episode, whether or not they're in a team. For the teams, I only count whether or not they win. I do not count their points because, again, sometimes a team will get 5 and another team will get 1. Sometimes teams get 3 and 2. There's like no consistency compared to the solo tasks where they're generally judged out of 5. The team tasks are like all over the place point-wise, so I've just decided not to count them by points for this ranking. I just count whether or not they won. So, yeah, that is basically it. That is all the data. I now need to build a video out of this. So, yeah, I guess that's it. I'm going to flip it over to this camera. Will it? Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go. It did do this thing. Hello, everyone. So, yeah, that was it. That's my job for the day. I just wanted to get that part done. I wanted to get all that data together. And now I do, and that's quite exciting. So I just now need... And I'm glad that, like, it matched up pretty well with the prior seasons that other people had done. So I'm pretty content with how that all worked out. Because it worked out, you know, on average, you know. It didn't feel like, you know, it's not like we decided it skewed too much one way and it messed up the data and stuff. Hello, Joel. Bob, would you do this again for future videos where possible? Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to get back into streaming semi-regularly, if possible. I do find this fun. It's just been finding the time for it and stuff, and you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Yes, it has been ages since I streamed, Joel. I just I knew I needed to get through this task. Of going through all the data of season 21 and getting all that information together. So I thought I can just do this. If I do you know what? Generally speaking, it helps when I stream to concentrate. You know, I find that when I'm not streaming myself, well, normally, should I say, because I don't always stream myself. Normally, my everyday life, I find it hard to concentrate on a task because, you know, there's Twitter, well, not Twitter, but not X. Wow, fuck off X. No, there's Blue Sky, is what I meant to say. TikTok, YouTube, I get emails, notifications, messages on Discord. You know, there's lots of little distractions. But people watching me, even if it's, you know, a relatively mundane task of going through data, people watching me helps me concentrate on doing it and not get so distracted by other websites and other things. So the fact that I got through that pretty quickly, you know, all in an hour, I'm happy with that. It's akin to working in a library, says Useless Chuck Official. Everyone else is working or watching you work, or watching you work motivates you. Yeah, it's true. Like sometimes when I've got like some scripts to do and stuff, I find it helpful to like just go to like a cafe or something. Pre-COVID, I got into a pretty good habit of like finding a little cafe and spending some time with a laptop and getting on with something. I'm able to concentrate because there's this air of, if I do dick around on Twitter or YouTube or whatever, then I'm wasting my own time being in the cafe. I can do that at home. So just removing myself from... it's either removing the element of being in my house or adding the element of an audience watching me what I'm doing makes me concentrate. So, but I haven't done the cafe thing in a while. There's not many that's actually near me. There was one. It closed down. So I was like, but yeah. So that's basically it. I mean, if there's any final questions or anything, I'm happy to take them now, but otherwise I'm going to wrap things up now. and probably distract myself. Probably distract myself with more social media and bullshit and stuff. I might piss, you know, for a laugh, you know. I'm sorry, Rahisaurus. I know you just got here, but I mean, you can probably watch this video back. I assume I've got it saved, so the videos are on playback. I can't remember. Tell us a joke, says Joel. A joke. I'm now drawing a complete blank on all existing jokes ever, so I'm gonna have to improvise one. There were two men, and one of the men said to the other man, "Hey man, are those your shoes?" And the second man says, "Fuck off, you cunt." Because it turned out he was a bad shoe-wearing person. Don't you have VOD's channel on YouTube? I do. I do have a VOD's channel, and I will share it on there. Again, I just have to remember to do it. Is that Pearl Spear in the background? Yes, it is. Where? No, I'm blocking it. There. Yes. There's... So, it is Pearl Spear, which was given to me by a cosplayer. There is a Wizzo's Wizard Staff from the Wizard the Wizard video. And next to it is a bow staff, which I got for my 40th birthday, because I've always wanted a bow staff. And I covered it in purple grip tape, so I can be like Donatello. So, that's those three. Non-binary haircut says, just saw your Mr. Burns video. Very nice. Thank you very much. I'm surprised that people are still getting mileage out of the Mr. Burns video. Considering how old it is and how I'd very much do things differently if I did that video again. So Rahisaurus, there once was a kid who was born with just his head, just a head. His dad took him for a drink on his 18th birthday, and when he downed his first pint, he grew a torso. Second pint grew arms. Third pint grew legs, and he was so happy he leaped up and sprinted outside straight into an oncoming lorry. Bartender said he should have quit when he was just ahead. I fucked your punchline. Should have quit when he was ahead. There we go. It's all about the delivery. Is this the one you're going to use against the tanks from that one content? The tanks in content, tanks. I'm trying to remember. There was a thing I was going to use. I mean, I've always wanted a bow staff. If you're talking about the bow staff, I can't remember what content it's from. But yes, oh yes, I do. I think it was the herd mentality one. Yeah, I've always liked bow staffs ever since I was a kid and watched the Ninja Turtles, or the Hero Turtles, if you saw that video. Then yeah, I've always liked the bow staff and I've always wanted one. So now I have one, and I should do martial arts. I should do the thing where you actually learn how to twirl it and shit. I just fear that you know, the first few days of you learning to do it, you're gonna look so rubbish, and I want to get to like being at least halfway decent. So then when I have to, because I have to do it outside, wouldn't I? I don't want to stand in my garden twirling a stick uselessly. I want to be semi-good at it before I get really good at it. And it's just going to be those first few days of being bad at it that I cringe at the notion of. So, yeah, cool. All right. I think I'm going to wrap it up there. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this little one-off stream. Stream idea, you learning martial arts. That's very funny, my DS pen. Yeah. How many times do I whack myself in the balls? So, yeah, I'm going to wrap this up now. Thank you very much for joining me. Yes, I would like to do more streams going forward. I just need to plan for them. You know how it is. But, you know, this one was pretty scrappy, and it came together all right. So, yeah, there's more of this sort of stuff. Everyone else is asleep, apparently, so there's no one I follow for me to do a raid towards. So, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you around. I forgot how to do my outro. No, Joel, I won't raid you. I'm going to press this button. Bye!